In the last programme of this year's series of Eco Eye, we explore an enjoyable way to reduce our carbon emissions.
With increasing affluence and cheap and frequent flights, we Irish are travelling further and more often than ever before. On average, we take 2 trips abroad every year, and 90% of these are by air. With the massive amount of kerosene used by planes, few of us stop to think about the impact this is having on the environment and the amount of CO2 emissions we're personally responsible for.
Air travel is the most carbon-intensive means of travel and is expected to double by 2020. Because the emissions happen at high altitude, they're doing huge damage to the atmosphere. As takeoff and landing use the most fuel, short trips have more emissions per mile. A trip to Spain accounts for more than half a tonne of CO2. A trip to New York produces twice that.
Carbon dioxide is the main contributor to climate change. As an island nation, the implications of rising sea level and the ever-increasing Atlantic storms are very serious. What we need to do is dramatically reduce our carbon footprint. That's the amount of CO2 that we're personally responsible for.
Instead of a short break in the sun, why not consider leaving a lighter carbon footprint by staying home here in Ireland? With an increasing awareness that flights come with an environmental cost, we're starting to see people take their leisure time at home. I decided to take an eco trip to see what Ireland has to offer.
Where are you guys travelling to?
Tenerife.
We're off to Paris.
Brussels, Charleroi.
London.
Pisa.
Okay, and how long are you going for?
Just the weekend and Sunday.
We're coming back on Monday, so it's just the weekend.
Just the weekend, back Sunday night.
Just pretty much. Back
Nice.
tomorrow, yeah.
Do you have any idea, if you could just take a guess, how much CO2 would be emitted per seat on that flight this evening?
I have no idea.
Sorry?
Wouldn't have a clue. I don't know how you would even quantify it.
I would imagine an awful lot, but I'll not feel so guilty that I'll want to leave.
And how does that affect the environment?
I'd like to show you a place that very few of us know about. Would you like to guess? Well, here are the clues. It's about 70 miles from Dublin, a little bit more than an hour by car or by train. It's a Gaeltacht and lots of traditional music. It's rich in archaeology, and would you believe it, there's even a volcano.
Well, the old volcano is Slieve Gullion in South Armagh. With all the development going on in Ireland, there still remains some unspoiled countryside to visit. Like here, where you can walk, cycle and explore the environment in an eco-friendly way. I'm off to meet Des Murphy, a lecturer in Newry Institute, who grew up in this part of the world. He'll show me a bit of Ireland that I'm not familiar with and that I can't wait to explore.
Hello Duncan, how are you? Good to see you.
Same to
You're
you.
very welcome to County Armagh.
Thank you, and I'll tell you, the weather looks great.
It's fantastic today. It's
Yeah.
beautiful, clear blue skies. I hope you're ready and fit.
Well, not as fit as you, I'll tell you.
We have a lot of hard work today, but we're going to start off nice and easy. We're going
Right.
to cycle down into Newry town, and we're going to cycle along the canal, and then we'll move back uphill and out into South Armagh.
Great.
You'll
Looking
have a
forward to it.
fantastic day.
Brilliant. Have you your bike with you?
I have my bike with me right round the
Oh,
corner.
great,
here.
lovely.
Railway track, as we were talking about earlier.
This was once the 4th largest port in Ireland, and with its low CO2 rail link, I can start my bike journey from here. The canal, built in 1731, is the oldest in Britain and Ireland. Although slow, this mode of transport was in the past very ecologically sound.
Okay, Duncan, this is Newry Canal, the largest canal on these islands. It links the Irish Sea right up to Lough Neagh, which is the largest lake, also on the island.
So are there ships here?
Yeah, the ship's moored here in this, which is known as Albert Basin. many years ago, and they would have offloaded raw materials from around Europe.
The railways replaced the canals for transport, and some fine bridges were built during that time. The Craigmore Viaduct, built in 1851 with 18 stone arches, is a masterpiece of Victorian engineering. Rail transport carries large numbers efficiently, and with less than 1/10 of the CO2 emissions of cars and trucks. Nearby, the planned town of Bessbrook is another architectural gem. It's trapped in time, looking almost exactly as it did when it was built in 1845.
2 squares here in Bessbrook.
This was the first ever model village and was built by the Quaker landlords for their workers. It was ahead of its time with big plots for self-sufficiency and a concept of community.
This is a kind of a planned square.
It is, yeah. All these little houses were built up around the linen mill. The family that owned the linen mill were called Richardsons, and they were Quakers, and they didn't allow a liquor licence within the boundaries of Bessbrook village.
At its heyday in 1878, the 4,000 employees produced the world-famous Bessbrook linen. Originally run on clean renewable hydropower, it unfortunately converted to coal.
To this day, you still can't have a pub,
Right.
a liquor licence within the boundaries of Bessbrook village.
So where do people go for a drink?
Up to Camera.
Okay,
Let's head that direction.
Let's have a look. What sort of fish here, Des?
This is mainly a pike fishing lake. Way back when I was a kid fishing, it was trout, but it's all pike now, with some bream, some trout left in it. But it's a very famous pike fishing lake.
And can you swim in it?
Oh, you can swim, yeah, we all learned. Everybody learned to swim in this lake here. It's very safe for swimming.
So maybe we'll
Excellent.
go for a swim after this.
Oh, we can, surely. You in first.
This unspoiled countryside maintains the water quality of Camlock. It's also a landscape ideal for healthy walking and cycling.
It's full of historic sort of
Historic sites,
around
yeah.
it,
Yeah, it's also excellent for walking as well.
We're approaching Killeavy churches, dating from the 10th century, one of our oldest chapels. It's wonderful when we travel around Ireland to discover such well-preserved remnants of early Christian culture and our golden age.
Oh, Des, magical place here.
Oh, it's beautiful here. This is my favourite part of South Armagh. The Killeavy old churches and the backdrop of Slieve Gullion Mountain.
And if you think the 10th century is old, the Kilnasaggart stone, not far from here, has an inscription dating back to around 700 AD. I love cycling, and bikes, of course, leave only a tiny carbon footprint from the factory they've been made in. But I'm going to say goodbye to Des and goodbye to my bike for a while and use an even better form of transport. 2 size 45 feet.
Well, Des, that's been a great day.
Did you enjoy it?
Ah, fabulous.
It was excellent. That took in about 15 miles
Right.
the entire day, and we covered as much as we possibly could.
Oh, I tell you, I learned so much in the fresh air.
Excellent.
A fantastic way to spend a day.
And you'll come back to us again.
I will. I've got to head up the mountain now.
Okay, that's
So,
first class.
best
Great
luck,
meeting you
Des,
again.
and we'll
Tommy.
meet again soon.
Okay, thanks very
Fabulous.
much indeed. Bye now.
I'm off to explore Slieve Gullion, which is the centre of this region and intriguing because it's an old volcano. It's surrounded by mountains called the Ringdyke Hills. The whole area is known as the Ring of Gullion. The Forest Park is popular with walkers, and the Forest Service maintains miles of nature trails. The walk starts off through parkland in the grounds of an old domain with biodiverse broadleaf woodland habitats. The landlords planted woodlands for their hunting and pleasure, and these days it's great to be able to explore the few that still remain. My next guide will be Anthony Cranny, a geologist and local ecologist.
Slieve Gullion Forest Park, I suppose, is one of the treasures of South Armagh. It's also part of the Ring of Gullion, which is a waymarked way, 56-kilometre waymarked way. The Ring of Gullion is one of 9 areas of outstanding natural beauty in Northern Ireland. It's personally my favourite, and I suppose that's maybe because I worked in it for 5 years. But it's a really beautiful and compact landscape, and it's unique in Ireland. I don't think you'll find a landscape similar to it anywhere else.
And this whole area is known for its rich natural habitats.
Yes, Slieve Gullion itself is an SSE, or Special Area Conservation, which is a European designation on the site. It's an area of dry heath, and it's one of the biggest dry heaths in Ireland. Dry heath is essentially a heath that develops on dry acidic soils or acidic peats, and it's normally on mountains or upland slopes. Really on Slieve Gullion you've got bell heather, Calluna vulgaris, which is your common heather, and you've got dwarf shrubs like western gorse, which is a gorse that has really adapted to living in mountains environments.
This is my kind of place, with expansive views and invigorating walks. As you get higher, you look down on the pattern of fields below, and the last part is a proper mountain trek. Alternatively, you could take the Slieve Gullion Drive, which brings you to quite a height, before you start climbing to the summit.
Slieve Gullion is the centre of what was a massive volcano. About 58 million years ago, what became America and what became Europe started to break apart to form the Atlantic Ocean.
What happened here at Slieve Gullion is that the volcano exploded, collapsed on itself and pushed out a ring of hills formed of material that was previously at the bottom of the volcano. That's the ring dike that geologists get so excited about. I'm sure the event created massive amounts of air pollution and greenhouse gases at the time. And I'm certain we're creating even more today by our transport habits. On the summit, you'll find the highest Neolithic cairn in Ireland, locally known as Cailleach Beara's House. It's a passage tomb, similar to those in the Boyne Valley, with a passage through which you can walk into the inner sanctuary. This is a mythological mountain. Cuchulainn was here, and Queen Maeve. Finn McCool's hair turned white after swimming in this lake, when he was just being helpful to a beautiful lady, who turned out to be a nasty witch, the Cailleach Beara. I wonder if that's what happened to mine. This is a great viewing point. For millennia, it's been a place of worship, and a place to watch the stars and observe the wheel of the seasons. This landscape is rich in archaeological sites. The early Neolithic settlers arrived from over the sea 5,500 years ago and landed close by. They came up Carlingford Lough, and some settled here. Others moved further south.
This is one of the many Neolithic tombs that you'll find in South Armagh, and this one here is Ballymacdermot. And I suppose it's one of the only remnants that we will find of these early Neolithic farming communities. These burial chambers, of which there's about a dozen in the immediate locality, would have been where they buried their ancestors and where they would have held ceremonial gatherings.
So is this circle here the court, Anthony?
Yeah, this is the court of the court cairn, and it's
all these upright stones here.
All the
form
upright
the
stones.
edge of
It was an open performance area, or a ceremonial area, and then the burials would have taken place behind us here.
And were they all hidden? All
hidden,
covered?
Covered over in an earth or a stone cairn. You wouldn't have seen these burial chambers. They would have been hidden from view and would have been very secretive.
This rich cultural heritage survives into the present day. There's a revival of the Irish language in South Armagh, also storytelling and a vibrant traditional music scene. I've been told about a cultural and community centre in Mullaban, where it's all happening.
Hi, Margaret.
Welcome. How are you doing?
Good to see you.
You're very welcome to see Colin.
This is a wonderful looking centre here, I must say. Margaret, what goes on in the centre here?
Seminars, workshops, conferences, residential weekends.
Is there a reason that it's called Cuchulainn?
Yeah, Cuchulainn is the house of Cullen. We're in Cuchulainn country here. It's involved in the Tawn Trail, and we're in the Ring of Gullion.
And is this really a centre for the local community?
Yeah, the local community are really involved in it, and it's really working well.
Is there a lot of traditional music in the area?
It's very rich in traditional music. We are very, very proud to have an All-Ireland instrumental group winners here in Mullaban itself.
It's also unspoilt, spared from insensitive developments. Possibly a legacy of Northern Ireland's 20th century troubles. Disused mills line the rivers and streams and bear witness to an industrial past, powered on renewable sources like water power. This corn mill in Cady worked up until the 50s and has since been restored. I've booked myself into Dundrum House, a B&B which has received a Green Award. The guest house is run by Larry and Elizabeth Nugent and is part of a working farm. I like its tranquil, rural atmosphere.
Hi Larry, good to see you.
You're very welcome, Duncan.
Thank you.
Morning, Duncan.
You've got a beautiful place here, I must say.
Thank you.
Larry and Elizabeth spent 12 years renovating the place and opened it as a guest house in 1999.
How many bedrooms have you got?
We have 3 guest bedrooms.
In the main house?
Yes.
And what about in the
We
apartment?
have 3 bedrooms in the self-catering cottage.
But you're doing everything in a very environmental friendly way. Tell us about your heating.
One of the biggest problems with the house being so big, the biggest problem we have is the heating of this house. And with the price of oil rising, it was become quite a burden. So we have plenty of timber here, and I thought to myself, well, what I want is a wood burner.
Right, so you've converted now from oil to logs, is it?
Yes. We got a wood burner, and we have in the shed up the yard.
It's free fuel.
It's free fuel.
But on top of that, it's CO2 neutral.
That's the thing, yes. And we have plenty of timber on the farm, and there are trees been grown on the farm.
Right. So what other environmental things are you doing?
Another problem we had was the water, and we do use a fair bit of water for washing around the farm, washing the tractor and machinery. So what I do for that is I collect rainwater
off the roofs,
of our sheds, yes.
Right.
And I use that for washing purposes only.
So with all these environmental initiatives that you've taken on board, you've got an award for it.
Yes, we did. After we done these works, we were inspected and we got an award under the Green Tourism Award Scheme.
I'm off to explore AONB, also called Navan Fort. This was to the province of Ulster what Tara was to Meath, the royal seat, the centre of power. Michael Durkin is a well-known local historian.
We're actually at the apex of one of the major roads north from Tara. And as you can see, this is the home of the High Kings of Ulster traditionally. We're going to go up to the top of the hill and you'll see that there was an outside defensive wall built and then there was an inside defensive wall, and internally there was a ceremonial banqueting hall, or a palace, I suppose, for the High